porn is getting way too high def for my eyes.
Last year, I started following a carnivore diet. The goal? Eat nothing but meat for 3 straight months to learn if I can improve my health while preventing temptations. A few days after I started, there were some circumstances that turned this 3-month trial into a year-long endeavor which I am still currently pursuing. Sort of. Not only did I give up every food that wasn't meat, but every vice that's been haunting me. After following the diet for 9 months, I started experimenting with some animal foods that wouldn't necessarily be classified as meat. With the return of the flavors that I've been depriving myself of for almost a year, came some of the vices that I've learned to fear.
The first time that I drank alcohol was in the 7th grade at this open bar in my friend's parents' basement, which led me to a lifelong, arduous relationship with alcohol. I never drank too often, but I often drank too much. So now that I'm more in tune with my body, I want to learn if I can drink some liquor and still end the night in my own bed. Turns out that I can. But the real problem is that alcohol lowers the inhibitions which prevent me from participating in other toxic behaviors. When I was a kid, my mom stopped at a store where I sat in the car curiously awaiting her return. Mommy, was Ernie doing anything crazy? Yeah, he was doing cartwheels down the aisles. Years later, I walked into the same store and learned that my mom thinks it's crazier to watch someone do cartwheels than it is to find a 4-year-old Chinese girl selling tobacco to underage kids. So this store was right across the street from my gym, giving me instant access to unlimited tobacco for my early teenage years. I started smoking when I was drinking and chewing tobacco in the locker room, 2 habits that I'm ashamed to admit that I participated in and hoped that I would quit forever. But after 9 months of incredible discipline and social isolation, I'm craving some substance that can help me relax. I replaced the smoke with vapor and started acting like a 13-year-old boy who's addicted to porn. I grew up in the early age of the internet, when parents still thought porn was reserved for dudes wearing sunglasses and trench coats behind the curtain at an old video store. They had no idea that their 12-year-old sons were ravenously consuming 30-second clips from Big Sausage Pizza and Please Bang My Wife.
The internet gave us a whole world of exciting new possibilities.
He can tell you the best surfing spots around the globe.
When I started the carnivore diet, I decided to quit this decade-long addiction and haven't seen a pixel of porn until the alcohol and nicotine infusion piqued my interest during a pandemic-induced dry spell. I've learned now that porn just can't compete with real sex, but cannabis can make it a closer competition. The first time that I saw anyone smoking weed was a girl named Tiffany Weeb, who convinced my 8th grade classmate to join her for what in my mind might as well have been heroin. 1 year later, and I was starting my own tenuous relationship with a lady by the name of Mary Jane. Honestly, I never really loved the lady, but she was good entertainment for a rebellious teen living in the angsty reality of a small, isolated town. Cut to the present day, where the opportunities of this giant metropolis have been completely eliminated by a global pandemic, and my mistress is making her return. The only time that I used cannabis on the carnivore diet was to learn if I could get high on meat. Spoiler alert, I could. When the relapse became a reality, this one-time excursion became a daily bull call. For almost 2 months, all of these vices became justifiable participants in my daily existence. They weren't going to affect the results of my carnivore experiment because I already finished all of the health tests. None of them were food, so they wouldn't impair my judgment of how adding plants to my diet would change these outcomes. And all of them helped me relax after 9 straight months of strict discipline and social isolation. 9 months on the most restrictive diet that I've ever encountered may have led me to some old bad habits, but it's also provided me with the tools for getting back on the path. When I reflect back on my life, I can see that anytime I've started to make progress, I inevitably encounter a setback. This time, I didn't rebound nearly as hard as I have in the past. I only drank alcohol 4 times in the past 2 months, and I can count the number of days that I've watched porn porn with less than 2 hands. I was using tobacco for a decade and a half and never became fully addicted, so this temporary juvenile fixation is easy enough to eliminate. Cannabis is a different kind of vice because occasional use definitely provides me with some unique insights at the low cost of anxiety, but frequent consumption crushes the productivity that I started the carnivore diet to gain, so until I can give it a proper experiment of its own, I'm going to be quitting cannabis. And through all these struggles, I still haven't eaten one food that wasn't a part of the plan. The best part about going 9 months on a carnivore diet is that it's given me a solid foundation to return to when any challenges arise. If I deviate from the mission, I can return to the diet and get back on the path along that razor's edge towards Valhalla. Life always presents setbacks, and all you can do is pick yourself up and try taking 2 steps forward before the next step back. I'm fine knowing that self-improvement is a step-by-step process that can't be skipped by jumping to the finish line. Now I'm back to the carnivore foundation and ready to start experimenting with new foods to learn if they help or hinder my progress. And this time, I've got a friend in my pocket who's lending a hand. The most powerful tool for self-improvement that I've ever used is also the simplest. I posted a sheet on my bedroom wall to track the days that I completed a new desirable habit and avoided an old temptation. Every month I built new skills and eliminated vices until I lost printer access and had to move the sheet online, where it remains helpfully hidden away from daily sight. I'm making the input easier and the reminders more clear by creating an app which asks you whether you've completed the good habits and avoided the bad ones, so that you can continually monitor your progress while advancing towards your goals. If you struggle to create new habits or eliminate bad ones, then you can click the link in the description below this video to sign up to get notified when I release this app, so that you can get some help holding yourself accountable to the changes you want to make. Thank you for watching, and I'm excited to continue sharing this journey with you.